Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night and welcome back to the Black Cat Lounge. Where else? Where the elite meet next to the transfer station. It's either that way or that way. Sometimes it depends which way the wind blows. And my drumming buddy Chris is in the room. Says Tank and Miss Aida, and he likes to call me a tank because my body's so beat up. It just keeps rolling on. Put a new track on me. I'm ready to go. Hey Debbie, nice to see you. Debbie's in there, and she's also a good friend of Miss Aida, and we go and I see her all the time. And Kenneth is in the room. Hi, everybody. Hey, I got to let you guys know something that you guys know that my buddy Joe from Paranormal Oddities has been very, very sick, and he had COVID pneumonia. And I got to tell you, I want to thank every single one of you people out there. We did a healing show for him, basically for him, but other people too. And he has bounced back. Of course, he's out of the hospital now. He's recovering at home. He's planning to open up Paranormal Oddities in July. That is amazing, amazing. So, I mean, the gods, goddesses, whoever you want to thank, send those thanks up there to because it's just an amazing thing for him to come back. And so many other people are still in need. So I think we may do something on this coming Monday. It's going to depend on like my schedules and stuff, but we're going to try to do something for him. And I want to make sure that he's not forgotten. He's funny. I try to send him a text every day just to like make him shake his head. Something that's very, very weird. Usually it involves my buddy Frank and the destruction of his shop's restroom. And all I'm going to say is, anybody goes to Paranormal Oddities, when it reopens, you have to go into the restroom because there is a 8x10 photo of my friend Frank on the wall. So enough said. And Joe's in the room. Hey, Joe, I'm so glad that you're feeling better. I can't wait when it gets very warm. I'm coming over so we can sit outside and just giggle a little bit. Okay, guy? So he's in the room. It's so great to see you. It's so great to see you up and about. Anyway, I got to tell you something. You know how my back is, right? I always bitch about my back. It's like, the old gray mare, he ain't what he used to be. Well, you're right. I mean, I am not even close to what I used to be. So I've been nursing a sore back for over a year. And I literally like sneezed and popped that damn thing out again. So I went to a chiropractor today. Oh, my God. And she didn't destroy my back. She actually took the time to really kind of put everything back together. And the first session felt fantastic. Utu is in the room. Hello, Utu. It's good to see you, brother. And Chuck, baby. Chuck is there. How about some social distance drumming healing for Joe? Chuck, yes, I'm ready. Let's do this. I'm ready. The no tones will be out there. And we call ourselves the no tones because we couldn't carry a beat in a bag. We're so bad. But we make a joyous noise, don't we? Chuck will tell you. He sat next to me, and I can't. You know what I look like? I look like one of those characters in like one of those old time Elmer Fudd cartoons, and trying to beat this drum, and like my hands are going, and it's. But I do have a little gong. So just as the sun begins to set, I stand up and I hit my gong. See, I'm a musician. I could have one of those triangles. That's what I could do. I think that's the best way. It's one of those things. But yeah, we're gonna go and we'll get together soon, Chuck, because I am jonesing for a weekend or an evening to get out there and play a little bit of music. And I enjoy it. I enjoy hanging out with you and everybody out there. And so please say hello to Jamie for me. Now, a lot of people today, we have a great guest, and we're going to talk about some of the, some interesting things. I have a lot of things that people, find like scary and ugly. And I think she's beautiful, isn't she? I think she's beautiful. We're going to talk about Poppets and Voodoo Dolls and that sort of thing. So we'll talk about this and with our guest. And our guest, you guys are great. I try to, when you guys want a guest to come back, I try so hard to arrange it. And there's some logistics that are involved because you can't put guests back to back. Of course, you don't want to. You can't do that. But the first chance I got to bring Miss Aida back. Speaking about bringing people back, Marla Brooks is in the room, my little baby sister, and she's coming back on the show. She doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be coming back on the show. And we're going to be doing a Reverend Witch show very, very soon, just to let you know, on the Parax Radio Network. But anyway, we're talking about bringing someone back that really, I can't believe the amount of people that just like went crazy over. I'm just not like talking, loco roco. We're talking about some people that went crazy over our next guest, or my guest tonight, my next guest. What am I, Johnny Carson? Oh, I'm showing my age. Sorry. Oops. Conan O'Brien. How's that? But yeah, Marla, you're always the last one to know. No. Well, anyway, let me introduce our guest tonight, and I can't wait. I just love her to death. She was born into this work. And when I say work, we all know what I'm talking about. And her mom is from Cuba. Hoodoo and conjure is second nature to her. It's almost like breathing. I'm going to be honest with you. She is probably one of the best teachers I've ever met in all the years that I've worked. She is a natural medium. And, when I say, again, usually when I say natural mediums, I usually say it with disdain because you're not trained. But in this case, she's proved my big mouth wrong because she's really good. And Christy London is in the room. Hey, Christy, how are you? She has an unbelievable knowledge of hoodoo and conjure and Santeria, as well as other Afro-Cuban traditions. And I find that fascinating, just fascinating. I love, you know what? She's one of those people that I could sit down with and talk with for hours, literally hours. We were in the green room here. That's what we call the green room, before the show. And we couldn't believe how quickly the time flew, and we were just blah, 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 blah. But anyway, to say that I have learned from her is an understatement. I really is. She has a show every second Sunday, and I try to announce it on my Facebook page because she's just amazing. And it's a question answer. So she'll have a topic and you just send a couple questions and it's phenomenal. I love tuning in. I try to make sure I don't miss it. Now she does have a few books out, just a couple. And the first one is Destroying Relationships, Hoodoo Spells to Break Up, Separate, Hotfoot. I always like that one. And Drive Off Foes and Rivals. Great book. I own it. Curses and Crossings, Hoodoo Spells to Torment, Jinx, and Take Revenge Upon Your Enemies. I own it. What can I say? I'm that type of guy. Hoodoo Cleansing and Protection Magic. Phenomenal book. If you get none of her books up to this point, that's the book you want to get. I own it. And I do love it. And coming up I'm going to say in February, in the fall, those F words, they kind of, I get mixed up with F words. I'm not going any further than that. Hoodoo Justice Magic is going to be fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all of my wonderful, wonderful Black Cat Lounge kitties and lions out there, please welcome back to the show, Miss Aida. Hey!
Hi. I thought you were going to do like you said like here's Johnny, or here's.
If I had my karaoke microphone, I would have done it.
Okay.
You're just lucky. You're lucky that Nancy came by and I didn't have time to grab it and bring it out. But it's so great to see you again. Oh my God!
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I'm going to tell you something. You know what I hate about? The one thing I hate about you. You ready for this one?
It's my hair, right? I cut it too short.
No. Yeah, I cut my hair too short too. No. You know what? Every time you have your show on, and it's you're doing your whole thing, and I'm trying to take notes, I fill up an entire book. It's like every time, every page, because of the fact that the information that you teach and you send out to everybody is something that's magically important. And a lot of people aren't getting that. You know, Aida, I have books of the yin yang, and may I say that my yin yang is not pretty because where the books go, but I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you, and there's a lot of books that I've gotten over the years that I have that simply suck. They just suck. They're terrible. You spend 15, 20, 25 bucks on these books. Your books are right on. They're right up there with Utu's. You know, I mean, it's really right top shelf. It's something that people need to read. If you're interested in this work, I put them right up there with the late Ray Buckland's, you know, works.
Wow.
And you know, and I'll be honest with you, along with Rosemary Ellen Guiley's works, because I mean, I knew both of them, Ro and Buck, before they passed. They both passed, unfortunately. And I have to say that they're as instrumental and educational as their work. So
thank you. What an
Chuck
honor.
is in the room. My buddy Chuck's in the room. Greetings, Miss Aida. As always, thank
Yay.
you for your
I was
service.
in the Air Force. That's why he's thanking me for my service. Oh, there's Marla. Hi. I can't see the chat room, so everybody.
What do we have here? Does that make you a smart ass? Yeah, yes, Debbie, it does make me a smart ass. Just ask my wife. It doesn't matter. Seriously. Yeah, you know, I think if you do this stuff, you become automatically a smart ass. I don't know if that's good or not, but anyway, I have right here in my sweaty little hands. These are some questions that last time you were on, after the show, these were sent to me, and they asked me if I ever have you back on, if right, you know, if I ever have you back on, would I go and ask you these, you know, some of these questions? And so I write them down. And, you know, the one thing that you're going to find out about me is there's very little stuff that I throw out. I have, you know, I think I have like instructions for a VCR from 1,000 years ago. You know, I think I have instructions like that. I think I have instructions how to, you know, remember those Dynamo like label makers? I think I got instructions from them someplace. So I don't throw anything out. So I did keep these questions for you. So let's go with number one, because I want to talk about Voodoo Dolls and Poppets and stuff. And you are, I got to tell you what, I've been impressed by all of your work. And that was a question and answer show that was amazing. Hey, Mohammed, how are you? It's good to see you, my friend. So question number one, why does it seem that the traditions of hoodoo and voodoo, as well as other Afro-Hispanic religions, are always presented in a negative connotation and a negative way in popular culture? Why do you think that is?
I think that's unadulterated stupidity. And I'm going to give you an example of something that happened to me once. So, she's one of her paths is keeper of the cemetery, right? And I wanted to give her an offering, so I brought an eggplant with 9 little flags. You know those little flags with the 2 sticks, right? And I put it at the gate of the cemetery with 9 pennies. No big deal. You know, I was just thanking her for something she had done for me. And later that night, the FBI was looking for devil worshippers that left this eggplant at the gate of the cemetery.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's I hope I don't get arrested, but anyway.
Your secret's safe with me, Aida. We're good. We're good.
It's unadulterated stupidity. It is what it is. It's people don't want to know, and they, you know, sensationalism. When you see it in the movies or on television, they want sensationalism. They never talk about the good things, because guess what? That's boring, right?
Right. So, no, you're 100% right. It is boring. And,
so
and Debbie Emerson said we won't tell. So we're just we're among a couple thousand of our closest friends here. But okay. Now let me ask you this. This is another question that came in. Is it important? This is something that's interesting. Is it important to be justified when leveling a hex upon a person?
It's
That's
important to be justified in all of your magic spells. All magical spells need to be justified. I don't care if it's negative or positive, but it just irks me when people place cursing spells on others that don't deserve it. So
right.
I'm an avid believer in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, you know, and like I've said before, I think I've said it on your show. If that's good enough for God, it's good enough for me, right? So
Right.
if you called me a bunch of dirty names, I'm not going to curse you, right? If you threaten, you know, like indirect threats, like one of these days, just one of these days, I'm going to put up protection, right? But am I going to curse you? Am I going to do anything? Not unless you've done something to me or to my family or someone that I love. Otherwise, a curse isn't justified. The same thing applies to love spells. And I'm very cautious with those too, because a lot of people, you know, a guy looks handsome or a woman looks beautiful, and this person may be happily married or whatever. You don't just put a love spell, because who are you hurting? You're hurting a lot of people. You're hurting family. You're hurting children. So everything has to be justified, whether it's negative or positive magic.
Now, Mohammed's got a really good question here. Why is why is a good thing uh boring, if you don't mind me asking? Why is
Well,
something that's good uh boring?
let me explain this to you. How often do shows that talk about biblical passages get rave reviews and great audiences? It just doesn't happen. There's no sensationalism. I mean, I can't answer that. That's a question of human nature.
Mm-hmm. I
And
agree.
you know, that's a very, very difficult question, but there's no stimulus. You know, we watch biblical programs unless there's a story is involved. If someone's just talking to us and telling us something, we're going to change the station. You, even I'm guilty of that.
I can't believe that. I just can't believe that, Aida. That goes along with some of our earlier conversation. I wish we should have went and we should have taped it off what we were talking about off the air. Okay. Uh, oh, here's one from my buddy Scott that just came in the room. Hey, Scott, how are you? How do you know if someone has put a hex on you?
Well, there's lots of signs and symptoms, and I do list them in my upcoming book, Voodoo Justice Magic. And you know what? I also have it in my book, Voodoo Cleansing and Protection Magic. So, I mean, it can be a multitude of things. You could have nightmares. I mean, there's a long, long list.
Right, I agree.
Have nightmares. You could feel like someone's watching you. A classical sign that, you know, I find very interesting is snakes will come. You'll see snakes. Another one is insects. Okay. A lot of times, insects that are not native to your environment will come and you'll see them. Or else, if they are native to your environment, you'll see swarms of them coming to you. You could have accidents. You could have breakdowns in electrical appliances or equipment. People start treating you differently. And why do they do that? It's because your aura, and I speak about this in Voodoo Cleansing and Protection Magic, your aura becomes suppressed if you're cursed. So people start treating you differently. There are
There we go. That's
illnesses, many illnesses that doctors are unable to diagnose. So if you got an illness that a doctor is unable to diagnose, you know, that's alarming. And I get a lot of clients like that this happened and that happened and that happened. And, you know, because I'm a registered nurse, I always approach the the medical questions first and let me see your lab work or whatever. And when they can't diagnose it and there is a buildup of different things, most likely you're cursed along with other things. So it isn't just one thing. If I get into an accident, it doesn't mean that I'm cursed. But if I get into multiple accidents, or if I get into an accident and my appliances break down and I'm ill and I'm having nightmares and I feel like someone's watching me, you know, what's that old saying? You know, God sent me 2 boats and a helicopter. So, you know, that's signs that I'm cursed. Or you can get a reading and a psychic will tell you if you're cursed.
Yeah,
but you gotta be careful with that too.
Yeah,
and,
I agree.
Hoodoo cleansing and protection magic has most of the cures. And that's the reason I wrote that book, because I've seen too many people get ripped off. They're told that they're cursed when they're not, right?
Yes.
Or
yeah.
they charge ridiculously large amounts of money to remove a curse. And, you know, I have a problem with that too. Lighting a candle isn't going to remove a curse. I mean, it's removing a curse is labor intensive, and you have to participate, you yourself.
Exactly. A lot of people don't realize that, because I mean, I know, working with negative stuff, going in there and lighting some sage and doing a little arm movement here that looks like, you know, I'm doing a, you know, jazzercise or something, like jazz hands some days. You know, it just doesn't work. I mean, you really gotta work at it in order to go, and people don't realize when we say work, it is work. It's not just, you know, sitting there and doing, you know, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of intention. There's a lot of background that you really have to take into consideration, and you really have to make sure that your brain is working and pushing forward. And that's what people don't get. Justin's in the room. How you doing, Justin? Good to see you.
Hey, Justin. So you know what bothers me are people that have purchased my book, right? And they send me emails. Well, can you remove the curse for me, because I don't feel like doing this? Well, then why did you buy the book? There's nothing I can do. Really, there's nothing.
No, I agree with that. I agree 100% with that. People just don't get it, and there's a lot of work to it. And unfortunately, all you can do is put the information out there and hope for the best. That's the best.
What's that saying? No play, no pay. How does that go?
No pain, no gain.
Yeah, that's it.
Wait a minute. That's from eating a lot of pizza, Aida. But yeah, I mean, you're right about that. You're right about that. Hey, I'm going to take a little early break to pay some bills, and then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about our topic for today, which is voodoo dolls. So, Miss Aida, stay right there. Don't disappear on me. You know, I know the ethers are like very close to you right now. So don't disappear on me, and we're going to be right back. And everybody, you're listening into the Black Cat Lounge here at the Para-X Radio Network. Para-X Radio Network. Oh my God. You know, you get so used to saying things and it becomes second nature. Anyway, it's like mouth muscle memory. You're listening to the Black Cat. I'm not gonna be able to get there. You're listening to something or other down from my basement. We'll be right back. The Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Paranormal Oddities, The Little Store with the Big Heart, Buffalo Phantom Hunters, Patronus Photographic for all of your photography and design needs, Nancy's Sewing Room, masks, aprons, purses, and more, and Wild Raven Candles for those magical times. And we're back. My mouth is actually working finally again, and you're here at the Black Cat Lounge with us. And we're going to talk about voodoo dolls. And Miss Aida had gone and did a fascinating question and answer on her show. Just totally fascinating. And I sat there and went, you know, the jaw opened up, and, you know, I felt like I was a second grader again. So We're going to welcome back Miss Aida. Miss Aida, how are you? And did you notice I'm saying your name right?
Hey, oh my God, that's right.
I
Thank
couldn't
you. It's
say.
about time. What has it been, a year?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably about a year. You know, what can I say? You know, but oh my God, my brain is not working. See, I have man brain. You know, I have man brain. You know what? It works occasionally. Sometimes the neurons kind of connect. Most of the time, they kind of bounce off and go in some other direction and leak out my ear. But that's just me. So anyway, we're going to talk about, poppets and voodoo dolls, because a lot of people, a lot of people are fascinated by it. And I have a friend of mine, Onyx, made me this really great male voodoo doll. I got to put his hair back on. I got to. His tooth fell off, and kind of looks like me when I did have hair. And I really was. I had been really interested in it, and the reason why I can tell it's a man, because there's a penis. We'll just put it right in there. See, there's a.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, it's one of those, one of those spells where if you really want to get somebody bad, a guy bad, you can crack that bear right off. That's a whole nother story. But I mean, this is a representation of a common poppet, one that would have been in witchcraft or European poppets. That's what it would have been like. Now you have I have a collection of all different types of witchcraft, and not witchcraft, but all sorts of voodoo dolls. And again, people send me. I love when people send me stuff.
You've got one in there that scared the crap out of me. Where is it?
Which one?
I don't, because it's not in front of you're not having the box in front of the camera. There was one that was really intimidating looking. I have a couple.
I have a couple. These are what? See, this is what happens when you have a microphone and you're trying to swing a box of voodoo dolls. That's everybody's problem.
I mean, it looks like it was screaming or something. I saw when you showed the picture earlier to me. There was one that looked like it was screaming.
Well, this is my favorite one right here. This is my latest one.
I mean, that one's intimidating, but you've got one that's really intimidating in that box.
Oh, I'm sure. There are some strange ones in there. I must say that there's some strange. But a lot of people turn around and they think that voodoo dolls, on the whole, they have to be like a certain way. And before we get into that, why voodoo dolls? What makes it? Why should people be using, or why do people use voodoo dolls and poppets?
Because they're effigies. They're a representation of a person. So we use that.
We're having mouth issues today.
We can't have a person in front of us. We have to have a representation.
But it's true. It's an amazing thing. Now, tell everybody about different types of effigies that you use, and how do we activate them? Because people don't understand. They think they're just going to get a voodoo doll and start sticking pins in its butt cheeks or whatever, and that's not the way it works. You have to activate these things.
Right. So okay, my doll's still hard. Okay, so we've got different type of dolls, and I'm going to show you the different types. But because I have lipstick on, I'm going to show you how to activate it on a skull candle, which can also be used in lieu of a doll, right? And by the way, in hoodoo, we call them doll babies. In voodoo, they call them voodoo dolls, and the Celtic religions, they call them poppets, right? So this skull candle can be a representation of a person, obviously. And what I always do is I take my holy water, and I do this to whatever doll I'm using, either this one and I'll show you the different dolls. But just because I have lipstick on, I want to do it on this one because it's easier to wipe off. So what I do is I take holy water, right? And let's just say hypothetically, the person's name is John Doe. And my poor puppets, everybody's name is John Doe. So what I do is I take holy water. You can just take regular water that you've blessed, or you can use Florida water, or you can use whiskey. And I make because, I'm from a Catholic religion, I make the sign of the cross. I put some on my finger. I make the sign of the cross. And I say, I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. And then what I do is I put my energy into the doll by raising the doll way up in the air. And then I visualize electrical charges coming out of my shoulders, down my arms, and into the doll, right? And then what I do is I scream the person's name 9 times. So if I were to do this, and of course I'd be standing up, right? And I would take this doll and I say, I got my holy water, whatever I'm using. I baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. And I name you John Doe, 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 John Doe. So you're going to scream on the 9th time, right? Then at this point, you say, and now I breathe life into you. And what you do is you put your mouth over the mouth of the doll baby or whatever you're using as an effigy, and you blow air into it. And that's how you bring it to life. Now, the doll will have things inserted into it, and I'll show you later how to do this. But when you have a personal concern, something that has DNA of the target is the person that you're intending to put the spell on, these things would be stuffed, even these candles, right? If they're smaller effigies, like, a human figural candle, you can't do that, right? So you'd have to find something to rub on the outside. If you don't have a personal concern, then you would use the person's birth name and their birth date. You can stuff the candle or the poppet with it, or you can write all over it its name and its birth name and its birth date. But having DNA, anything that has DNA, so we got hair, we got skin cells, and by the way, dust is an excellent what's the word I'm looking for? Venue for obtaining skin cells, because dust is mostly skin cells, right? So if I wanted to get some personal concerns from someone's house, I would grab their dust if they're the only person that's living there, right? Another way to get personal concerns is a ring around the bathtub. That ring is our skin cells, and we lose zillions of skin cells per hour, right? So you got hair, you got skin cells, you got saliva, you've got body secretions, sweat. I mean, almost anything that comes out of you, right? Cigarette butts. I love cigarette butts because your skin cells stay on the butt of the cigarette. So you can just peel that off and you've got a personal concern. And that also brings the essence of the person into your effigy. Another thing that people don't think about are fingerprints. We all have unique fingerprints, right? It's a blueprint for who we are. So if we have something that contains a person's fingerprint, that's great too. Now, the reason I asked him and what I had done when he went to commercial was I made a doll out of butter. And in this case, I want to explain to you why I did this. And I have it in my new book, Voodoo Justice Magic. But during the days of slavery, there were slaves that had to churn butter, right? And what they would do is they would make an effigy of their master. And then they would burn the butter and curse it, right? So here is a doll. I'm going to need some Kleenex here. A doll made out of butter. So in this case, you could write the person's name or not write it, but inscribe the person's name and their birth date on there, and then just throw it in the fire pan while you're cursing it, right? So that's the reason I wanted to do this one immediately. And now my hands are kind of sloppy. So I'm going to show you different types of dolls, and what Tim's going to show you is a lot of labor intensive dolls that were made out of love. I'm a cheapskate and I'm lazy, and I want to make sure that you know it doesn't matter what the doll looks like. Now, my dolls, here's an example of a clay doll, right? My dolls always look like they came from another planet, but that doesn't matter because I have stuffed this doll with things, right? Personal concerns, papers inside that, say what I want. And I've named and baptized it. I put energy into it. I've spent a lot of time with this. So it doesn't matter. I mean, some practitioners make the most beautiful dolls. And that's wonderful. That's great. But it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Your intention is what matters. Now, I'm going to show you also, we have human figural candles, right? So here's a black lady and here's a black man. So you can use this for cursing and crossing. You can use it for negative spell work. But do you know what else black is used for? Black is also used for banishing. So let's just say I had something wrong with me, and I would take this doll, right, and then I would write, banish whatever it is that I have that I want to get rid of, right? Let's just say it's I don't know. I don't want to curse myself either. Let's say it's a pimple, okay? So I would, banish acne, and then I would rub it with some sort of banishing oil. If I didn't have that, I would use olive oil and then sprinkle it with asafoetida, which is a banishing ingredient. So I would do something like that. Now, effigies can also be used for a lot of other things, right? So let's just say, and this is for Utu Witch Doctor because he knows who I'm madly in love with. Let's just say this is Andy Garcia, right? And then here I am, right? So I could role play with these. Now these have become dolls. I've used them for different purposes, right? And I can role play. I can role if I knew them. Don't be doing this stuff on strangers that you've never met. Okay. So, but let's just say I'm in La La Land and Andy Garcia knows me and likes me and all that. So I made myself red because I'm making myself the attractive one, the lustful one, right? And I'm making him white, right? So anyway, I can role play with these dolls. And when I'm not role playing with the dolls, I can talk to Andy and say, you want Aida, you want Aida, you want Aida. You just can't wait to be with Aida. Can you just imagine if you were with Aida and you could be making mad, passionate love to her? So you see, these are things we can do. So we can use these candles. Now, I'm going to show you about cloth dolls. And, if you remember, I've told you that I'm lazy, right? So, and I don't have an artistic bone in my body. In fact, I can't even draw a stick man. They stink. So I'm really bad. So what I do is I go to the craft store and I buy these dolls, right? And they're like $3. And I use these also. And then what you can do is if you're making a love doll, and let's just say hypothetically, it's John Doe, and I can make a love doll. And anyway, I can write John Doe, and then I didn't want to, I was afraid there might really be a John Doe. So I wrote May 32, 1808, right? Because just in case there was a John Doe on a planet, I don't want to be, because I'm always using his name as an example. So, you know, I'd give him the eyes and the smiley face. But if I were cursing him, it'd be different. So he would have X's over the eyes. And then again, I would do this. And oh, Big Al is here. Oh, Big Al is an expert UFO investigator. And he does the werewolf thing. He does all kinds of, Big Al is my Alfred Santarega. He's my hero. So anyway, what I do is I cut along the seam of the doll. And I just want to get a head start here. I should have done this before the show. But what I do is I cut along the seam of the doll. So I cut along here, right? And then I take out just the stuffing of the torso and save it. You know, save it. You might need it for another purpose. But now I've got nothing in the torso, right? I have the legs are still available. The arms are still available, right? And what I do for these type of dolls is I take a sock. And if you don't have a sock of the person, just buy a sock. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, because I have a whole bunch of stuff here. And where's my sock? There it is. There's my sock. So I take a sock and I fill the sock up with whatever stuffing I want to use. So I would use put a picture of the person in here. I would put a piece of paper, a couple pieces of paper with the person's name and birth date in here. I would fill it up with the appropriate herbs if I were cursing the person, right? I would put goofer dust, or I would put whatever into this, right? And if I had personal concerns, obviously I would put that in there also. And then your sock is going to end up looking like this, right? And then you take that sock and you place it inside the doll. And this is the kind of stuff that Tim likes, right? So you place it inside the doll, and it's an easy way to stuff your doll. So you're not dealing with all these things you got to stick in there. I've done it, one easy move. And then you could, if you have an extra picture, and I've used a picture of myself, right? You can go into that slit and just slip that picture right into where the head is. Okay, I don't know if you can see. If you can't see what I'm doing, say something. So now the picture of me is in here also. And that also helps with concentration. Now, you could also, and you know, I have turned people on to the Dollar Tree. We're kind of blurred. Let me try to get this camera in focus. So these little dolls are at the Dollar Tree, and obviously they're $1, right? You can take out the stuffing in the torso and do the same thing. So, I mean, this guy here, you know, he's kind of cute and cuddly, so I'd kind of use him for love, but you don't have to. If I really dislike somebody, I buy the monkey ones, and those are the ones that I use to do the cursing. They have dolls that are donkeys even. You can do that. So with a clay doll, I don't ever suggest that you bake the clay, because what happens when you put meat in the oven, right? The composition changes, right? So you have raw meat, you take it out of the oven, and you have cooked meat. What happens? The composition of everything has altered, has changed. So when you make a clay doll, you do not ever put it in the oven, because then you're changing the composition of that person's DNA, and it no longer becomes that person. So I use air dry clay, and I lay it flat. I have all the instructions. I have it in Cursing and Crossing. I have it in Destroying Relationships, how to do it. And you start out with a flat piece, and then you stick everything over it, and then you put the other piece of clay over it. Everything's explained. Then you have to air dry it, which involves a lot of paper towels, because you have to keep turning it every 12 hours or so to get the paper towels to absorb that. And that's what I do. You can make dolls out of meat. You can take raw meat and make a doll. And you can put it out for the animals to eat or the insects to eat if you're cursing somebody. You can make dolls out of almost anything. And that's what I've got, Tim.
Well, no, it's really important for people to understand that, because basically you have something like this, that these are always tourist dolls. I always call these tourist dolls. A foreman in work gave me this, so I guess I made an impression on him. But this is what people don't understand. This is my little Clarice, and all she is just a small little like rag doll, but you can see that the face is actually plastic and it's sewn. You can see the stitches here, and I can smell the herbs in it. I'm not going to take it apart. I mean, I think the herbs in it, and this is just an example of you use what you have, and people sometimes don't get that. If you have nothing, you work with what you have. Now this is.
And that's what the hoodoo, that's what the old slaves used to do. They worked
Right.
with, they made dolls out of twigs. They made dolls out of everything.
This is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite ones here. Friend of mine actually made this one. This was something that he actually made for me as a representation, and he goes, "I love that. You gotta go and have that in your collection." I said, "Well, yeah, I do. Now, what am I going to do with it?" So he has a very special place in there. But here's another example. Witch Doctor Atu made this for me. Isn't this great?
That is wonderful.
Isn't that? He made that for me and he gave it to me. I thought that was this is one of my prized possessions. I'll be honest with you. It really is.
Love that. I want one. You got one in there where it looks like it's screaming. Do you see it yet?
I got the box standing there someplace. I'm not sure exactly.
I want to see that one because I've seen it in a movie before, something just like it.
Well, this is my favorite. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it with. Oh yeah, we can.
Move it over a little.
Right here. That came from New Orleans. That was sent to me, and she actually has a porcelain head, a skull head, but she has a Marie Laveau pin, like a little religious medal on her, and she's made basically with bark.
Wow.
And I actually put her in this case because she's really starting to, she's old. She's probably from the 40s. So, and then these are Peruvian mummy wrap dolls that I have because I can have them. And but my favorite, this is the one that I love the most, and a lot of people have seen her, and this is Appalachian Hoodoo, and I love her to pieces. She is when I got her, I had no idea what she was, and you can see. Let me get her a little bit closer. You can see the face. It's a reptilian face, and actually, Witch Doctor Atu actually clued me in that this was Appalachian Hoodoo, and then I got a hold of somebody in North Carolina, and she is a doll that is passed on from mother to daughter, and the doll itself is made as an effigy of a spirit to protect the daughter from abuse from her future husband. And if you look at it, you'll see the hands and the face are actually made out of tar. And there's only a couple of regions in North Carolina that produce that. And the hair is actually human hair. So She's one of my most prized. She's a really prized possession. I love her. I love those to death. And you know what? I never have a problem with anything because in my collections, because I love everything so much. I think they come and like live with me because I'm just like, oh, I love everybody. Oh, and Miss Aida,
Yes, that's
here we
me.
go. Miss Utu has written, I'll send Miss Aida a skeleton protector, and she has my permission to call it call the teddy bear Utu.
Oh, I love Utu. I love Utu so
That
much.
is good. But it's so funny because when you had the teddy bear, and then what you did with it as let's say was something that you're really kind of like it's a shut the f up type of spell. You took duct tape and you took that little cute dollar teddy bear and duct taped it. Oh my
Okay.
God, I was in
And that's what I was going
hysterics. But
to show you next. Okay. So
that's amazing.
and we're talking about cursing and crossing now. So, you can get some black yarn, right? And you can take your black yarn, say we're cursing him. You can choke him with this. You can hang him up by a tree limb and beat the crap out of him with your baseball bat. So there's a lot of things you can do. But what Tim likes is he likes the duct tape. And, you can take your duct tape, right? And, do some nasty things. I got to cut this. Let me try
People,
to cut this off here.
I always tell people, if you want to go and you want to get something done, take the duct tape off your ass. That's what
Yeah,
I tell people all the time, especially in consultations. And now we do have. I found another use for duct tape, and I was thrilled because guys like duct tape. What can I tell you?
Yeah. So I mean, you can, imprison him and duct tape his arms behind his back or whatever you want to do, right? Be creative, folks. Don't. And here's a common mistake. People think that working a doll is regimented, and it isn't. Just be creative. Now, if you want successful work, however, I am not going to tell John Doe how much I love him and oh my God, this and that and that and this. And then one day he does something to piss me off. And then I start beating him and I hate you and I hate you and I hate you. And this is a common behavior. And you can't do that. All right. If this doll is being used for love, that's all it's being used for. If I'm in a really, really bad mood, I'm not going to work any type of love spell, whether it be a doll or a spell or whatever. If this is a cursing doll, and I'm turning John around, right? I'm not going to be working with him or any negative spell when I am in a melancholy mood, right? You got to emit the proper energies and make it consistent. Now, if this were a love doll, we're back to him smiling. It doesn't work immediately. And what I try to tell people, and this applies to whether it's a love doll or a hate doll or whatever, is the more that you work with it, okay, John Doe, you're madly in love with Aida. You want Aida. You do this. You want her. You want her. What's happening is these energies are being absorbed into the doll. So believe me, this stuff doesn't work overnight. But when it does, when it starts emitting, it'll be boom, right? Now you can start giving commands, but don't give, and I tell this to everybody every week or every other week, don't give a grocery list. So if I want John Doe to call me, that's all I'm going to tell him, call Aida, and never say me. You gotta say the name, right? You gotta sound like, if you're doing love work, I always tell my clients, talk to the doll as if you're an angel. So I would say, John Doe, call Aida, but I would never say, call Aida and ask her on a date and ask her to go to the movies and take her to a fancy restaurant. It's one thing at a time. And, I don't know how this show is rated, but Tim did talk about, he talked about the penis, right? And, I always tell whether I make a vagina or a penis, if we're doing love spells, then work that. Okay. The sexual things you can do with your mouth and all that, do it. Okay. The more energy that you put into a doll, the better. Now, one last thing before I know I'm talking too much and I apologize, but how do you deactivate a doll? Let's say you don't want the doll anymore, or the candle or whatever. You would stick it in, and it's, I think ammonia is like 99 cents a gallon now. I always pour that ammonia into a bucket, and then I stick the doll into the bucket and leave it there for 24 hours. And then I can throw it in the garbage, because now it is garbage. It's no longer any good. The ammonia releases the spirit. Okay, Tim.
No, I mean, this is fascinating, because a lot of people don't understand that it's like a light switch. It's like anything else magical, or let's say even Ouija boards or whatever. You got to activate it first, and then you got to shut it down. People don't get that. People think that, oh, I'm just going to go and throw it out. Well, it just keeps on going. Now, here's a question that came in that I didn't get a chance to post, and it's a question about pins. And this is a little. So this is a little effigy that I've made over the years, and the way I was taught was to have some pins in it. How necessary is it to have pins?
In my opinion?
Yes, in your opinion.
It's not mandatory.
See, that's what people don't get. People sometimes don't. I heard a little somebody talking, and I think somebody was magical talking there, but people don't get that a lot of what we see is stereotypical. And what a baby!
That was a magical noise you were hearing.
I knew it. Oh, look at what a baby, mama baby.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Love that.
He loves being on the center of attention.
Yeah, so does mine. I know that feeling yesterday.
He wanted me to move so he could do the show. That's
I knew it. Now, here's something. Now we've gone through a lot. We've gone through the questions. We've gone through the dolls. Now, I can't let you go, Aida, unless you talk about your upcoming book. Because why? Because that's why you're on the show. Not my idea of a guest coming on is I'm here to sell you, Miss Aida. It's you, baby. I'm going to have your people call my people. We'll do lunch this week.
No.
We'll do lunch this week. Don't worry about it, Aida. Don't worry about it. Yeah, baby. Yeah, Chicky baby. Yeah. We're gonna. Yeah. So let's tell us about your upcoming book, and tell us about a little bit about what's in it and how to get it and all that good stuff.
Okay, so earlier you asked me about justification, and so Voodoo Justice Magic is about righteous vindication, as the title says, and I talk about different types of ways to achieve righteous vindication while protecting yourself and getting power. And there's about 129 different spells. There's all kinds of rituals. But what I'm mostly proud of is I have a whole bunch of prayers in there if people do not want to do negative spell work. And, it's amazing that even the biblical Psalms that are in the Hebrew Bible and the Old Testament of the Christian Bible, some of those Psalms are designed specifically for cursing somebody. But everything has to be justified. And that's why we call it Voodoo Justice Magic. I'm very proud of this book. I'm very, very proud.
Well, I can't wait for it to come out, because all of your other books have been phenomenal. But I'm telling you, my favorite is protection, because I view some of the techniques that you've that you've talked about and you've written about. So, I mean, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's just a phenomenal work. This is going to be really going to be great. And people, do yourself a favor. Every week, put $1 away. Put $1 away, and when the book comes out, buy the book.
Well,
Just do it.
yeah, wow. It's come. You can pre-order it now. It's on Amazon, and it's available for pre-order if you're interested.
It's all of her work is phenomenal. That's all I'm just going to say it. I'm not going to mince words.
This one, I believe, is my masterpiece. I really do. I'm very proud.
I'm telling you, your protection book is one of the best books that I own.
Well, thank you.
I actually go back to it. I actually go and I reread it. I actually go and pick and choose. But you touched on something that I thought was really interesting, because you have so many of the Psalms in there, and people don't understand that many of these, like you said, they can be used to curse people or send healing or send love or whatever. People miss that whole point. Everybody thinks like the Old Testament is like, the fire and brimstone, and the New Testament is, let's everybody hold hands and sing Kumbaya except for the crucifixion. But when you start looking at it, I mean, there's a reason for these passages to have been included, through the bishops at the Council of Nicaea. There's a reason for this stuff. And people don't realize that there was a magical connection with these bishops and all of these, Constantinople, the Emperor Constantine. I mean, people don't realize that they had that magical connection, because automatically nowadays everything is like pigeonholed. You have this, and then you have everything else is out there, like the Gnostic Bible and all that, the Gnostic Gospels. People don't realize that there was a lot more mysticism than what we know. And I think that's why I love your book so much, because you actually go and you include it. A lot of the hoodoo and voodoo books that I've purchased over the years have nothing like that, have no Psalms, have no references. And to me, that's a shame. That's a shame. People need to be able to go, and because let's face it, hoodoo and voodoo are they are a conglomerate of colonialism and traditions of the subservience and those of the slave populations. And people don't get that, and people only see black and white. And that's why I love that you have the Psalms in there, because it, at least me, it hit home. I'm sitting there I'm reading it because it's not like connecting, and then your protection book came out, and everything really, it was driven home. Now Utu kept telling me about it, and I got a lot out of his book, but this is what made me open my eyes. So I really got to thank you for that. That's going to be great. I can't wait for the next book to come out. And you're going to come back, right?
I'll be back anytime you want me to.
Well, we love you. We love you. And I have to thank everybody out there for asking for Aida to come back. I mean, I couldn't believe, after the show, people were writing me, when's she coming back? Can you get her back on? I said, listen, I'm going to have to sell her. I'm going to have to send her as my buddy Joe.
Trying to sell me.
Well, my buddy Joe always says, "Oh, don't worry. I'll send somebody a $1 and a coupon for Subway." So I had to go and I had to clip the coupon for Subway and send it to Miss Aida to come back on the show.
Miss Aida. I love you and I love Nan, and it's always my pleasure anytime you want. Anytime.
This was so wonderful for you to come back and dispel some rumors, or I should say rumors. There's rumors about me, but that's another story. Dispel some.
I heard them.
They're all true too, but we'll talk about that another day. But I want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge and taking the time out of your busy schedule.
I hope people have learned something tonight.
Oh, they have to have learned something. Otherwise, listen, if they didn't learn something from you tonight, they were on their phones. They were watching like this and then on their phones doing something. That's the only way that they couldn't learn something from you tonight. Now, Miss Aida, I want you to stay on the line so that I can thank you properly off the air. But thank you so much. I mean, it was just such an honor to know you, and it's such an honor
Oh,
to,
I feel the
have you on
same
the
way about
show.
you. I feel the same exact. I just adore you. I just,
See that?
you
See
know.
that? Then you got my check for $15.95 because I pay people well to like me. Well, hold on, Miss Aida, and we'll be right back with you. And I want to thank you so much again for being on the show. And everybody is just lighting up the chat room saying thank you. And Tammy even took notes, so that's how you know that you're a good instructor, when
Yay.
somebody takes notes. Just hold on a couple minutes. I'll be
Bye,
right back.
everybody.
Isn't she wonderful, Miss Aida? I love having her on the show. I love being able to go and learn from somebody else. And she is a true instructor and teacher. And I'm not lying and I've been kicking around a long time, and I'm not lying when I say that I always learn something from her question and answers. And again, every second Sunday, I'll post when she's on. You guys got to go and you got to listen in. It's great. She's just a lot of fun. And she's an amazing practitioner. That's all I can say. She's an amazing practitioner. And we didn't even scratch a lot of the surface of what we do and what she does. So anyway, I want to thank we'll out there again for sending me some healing, which I needed. And maybe Monday we will go on. We'll do another healing service. I think we should be able to do that. And basically, I just want to let everybody know that I appreciate you guys more than I can tell you. And you guys honor me for being you guys and sticking around. So anyway, until next week, Tuesday, this is Tim Shaw. You're here at the Black Cat Lounge. Where else? Where the elite meet, next to the transfer station. And it is all about, what is it all about? It's all about just learning and growing and understanding we're all just here for a short amount of time. So giggle a lot, understand what's going on around you, and whatever you do, don't go out of your way to hurt anybody. And to that driver on Transit Road that gave me the finger on the way to my chiropractor appointment, oh well. We'll take care of you later. No. Talk to you later. Bye, guys. Thanks a lot.